got something to say on this point. Look,
hold on. Renata hasn't said anything yet, Keith. Renata hasn't said anything yet.
Jordan, have you finished yet?
No.
Jordan's not done yet.
But no. But to finish, I'm gonna just wrap this up because I'm gonna get interrupted again. I say that, to be honest, bro, like dead ass, this country owes so much to black people that it's honestly even a slap in the face for like another like group to even try to fix their mouths to call us out. Like, nigga, we didn't even ask to fucking come here. Think about that.
Right.
You dragged us here and dragged us through all this shit. Now you say, well, where was you at when we was marching for Mexicans? Bitch, Mexicans can go home. I don't even know where my home is. Like, it's a totally different situation. So no, I don't think we obligated. It's nice if it happened.
Man, that's a good point. That's a great
Renata,
point.
it's on you. It's on you, Renata.
Okay, am I unfriending white people? Honestly, I just want them to shut the hell up. I want them to quit trying to insert themselves in everything. They're trying to kind of like put the onus on us to teach them. Google that shit like y'all Google everything else. That's how I feel. Look it up. Y'all know the root causes. It's no surprise. It's not hidden. It's not, some deep dark secret. Like, we all know the root cause of everything that's going on today. So quit leaning on us to absolve you of responsibility and absolve you of guilt. Like, let's stop that shit first. Do I feel like we should show up for other people? I feel like we should as human beings, yes. I feel like you show up for the causes that mean something to you. So if, like Mark, you mentioned the pipeline, you're mentioning gay rights and things like that. If that's anything to you, don't be disingenuous. Don't show up to something that does not really matter to you just for a look, just to say you was there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you have to understand the intersectionality of all of these causes. So eventually the things that affect Black people are going to affect gay people, are going to affect the natives, are going to affect Hispanic. You know what I mean? Like, we have to see on a bigger scale. Think about the bigger picture. If one group is being marginalized, it's only a matter of time before the next group is going to feel that. You know what I'm saying? So as a woman, as a Black woman, we show up for every damn body. Who shows up for us? So I heard y'all touch on it a little bit, but Black women historically cape for every damn body, whether we benefit from it or not. But no, white people, I'm not Xing anybody off of my Facebook right now. Not necessarily for being silent, because actually what I want them to do right now is be silent. I want them to shut up. I want them to quit inserting what they think Black America needs to be doing, and start talking to each other. Talk to each other about what you need to do. I posted something about it earlier this week on my Facebook. Check your neighbors, check your employers, check yourself, family members. Quit checking us though. Quit telling us what our problem is and quit trying to tell us how to solve it when we're not the ones who caused this problem.
Right.
Facts. True that.
Mark.
True that.
You there, Mark?
Okay, my bad. Yeah. Did anybody else want to add anything to that? Anybody else? Kev, you didn't say anything at all on this one. You can speak up if you had anything to add on any level.
No, I think actually, I agree with what Renata said. We just need to shut the fuck up and listen. Talk to our friends, talk to our family members. Absolutely, and I love the fact that gay rights came up. That's a big thing for me. And see, being like I've actually being a white guy and trying to like basically stand up for everything when I see the immigration thing, and when I see the issue, like obviously I've been around and I've noticed racism since I was old enough to know better, if that makes any sense. But I think that like the one thing that I noticed about like people talking about well rioting and violence never solved anything. It's like, okay, so this is Gay Pride Month, right? So do you know do you know like where the Gay Pride movement started? The Stonewall riots. The Stonewall riots. Gay people had enough. The police went in and tried to raid a gay club, and they did that shit all the time in New York back in the day. And gay people were like, we've had a fucking enough. And it was brutal and it was violent. And guess what? Shit changed. Shit changed. So I'm not the type of person that's gonna get on there. Why haven't you condemned the riots? Because I don't fucking condemn them. That's why. I haven't condemned the riots because I don't fucking condemn riots. I don't condemn the riot part of it because I know people are fucking fed up. People are pissed off. And like somebody brought up the example. I've used that example about 10 times this week about punching the wall. How many times have you punched the wall? How many times have you put your hand and your property in jeopardy by punching a wall when you're just fed up? So you look at that and you look and I said, how often was that something you were going to punch the wall over the most trivial shit in the world? And I said, you're talking about people that are just tired of. I mean, we're tired. Don't get me wrong. I said that wrong. We're tired of police doing this type of stuff and getting off, and of people saying it's okay. Like you brought up, Jordan. I think you brought up the black quote unquote black on black crime response when this type of stuff pops up. It's like a lot of times we're also looking at a point of, there's jail involved in that. So we're talking about police who are supposed to be more responsible. Supposed to be, according to what we've been preached that police are our whole lives. You know what I mean? They're supposed to be, to protect and serve in the community. All that bullshit that we've been, kind of fed our whole life, and then to come out and say, all right, well, these are the people that are supposed to protect and serve everyone, and these are the people that are killing. So why are we not holding them to a higher standard? I think I asked Keith in a group that we're in. I said, when a person in the military commits a crime or does something, what do they generally? Because I didn't know, I had an idea, but I said, what happens to a person in the military when they commit a crime? I said, is the court martial, is it worse than like a civilian court? And Keith, what was your response to that? Can you give me some insight on your response?
I said that it is worse because not only do you get like jail time or whatever, depending on the crime, but your career is effectively over as well.
Yeah.
Right. So why aren't police officers held to that same standard? If they're not civilians and they don't have that same, that's my thing. If you've taken an oath and you're taking taxpayers' money to protect the community and you commit a crime against the same legal code that you swore to uphold, your penalty should be worse. But we haven't been seeing that. We've been seeing easier penalties, no penalties, no charges, no suspension, nothing. So why are they not being held to a higher standard? That's where I'm at. I didn't mean to rant. I'm sorry. Seriously, I don't have very many people to talk to about this, and I've been holding a lot of.
And Kevin, your ass
inside.
talk. Period.
I'm a fucking talker.
Welcome, Kevin. We talk shit all the time. So.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and hit you. All right, I'm about to hit y'all with the last question in.
Hey, Mac.
Okay.
Mike, I did want to chime in on something. I patiently waited for everybody to get their thoughts off on that last thing that we was just talking about. You said something to the effect of you don't like we can't stand on the backs of what our ancestors did because you wasn't in the Revolutionary War, none of that shit. But look, that shit really does affect us today because that whole systemic racism, that's the reason why we don't have no generational wealth or property. First of all, that's the reason.
White people do that shit too. White people stand on the backs of their grandfathers. Look at what Drew Brees said this week. What Drew Brees, my grandfather was in the war. He fought for this country. Okay, so you get to stand on that. Yeah, stand on that shit. Stand on what your ancestors did.
If we're talking about this country, if we're talking about the United States of America, we're gonna just totally skip over the fact that it was thugged and looted and stolen.
For real, this whole shit.
Like I'm totally skip over that because those are OG triple OGs. We're gonna skip over that.
Yeah, America is the king of looting and rioting. Like niggas forget the Boston Tea Party cracked this whole shit off. Like it's the genesis of the country is a fucking riot and loot.
But not just Americans, because if they came here from Europe, right? And we think about what Europeans do to other Europeans. Think about like all the oppression that they've inflicted upon each other. Like it ain't us. Exactly.
All right. So the last question goes as this. So like we've been talking about, it kind of encompasses the whole conversation, sort of. And it's so like we talked about the system of racism, right? It's not just the judicial system. It's not just the political system. It goes into education. It goes into economics. It goes into entertainment.
Healthcare.
Right. Okay. So healthcare. Right. So in all of those it's all good. In all of those different categories, where is the black? Where's the black community accountable, and where is the white community? Like, what are they accountable for? Do y'all get it?
I don't really understand the question.
I get it.
Okay, so like,
I get it.
I get it.
Can somebody paraphrase it for me?
Hold on.
Right,
Can you paraphrase it for Keith James?
What he's saying is, like, when it comes to like racism, what part do black people play and what part do white people play as a community? Like,
as far as fixing it, or
as far as, well, yeah, I guess he would have to clarify that last part. Like, is this just an overall question? Yes, as far as no. Yes, this is based definitely a solution based, and not just. I'm not talking about just in like everybody says police officers need to tell on police officers. We all, we have a huge stop snitching. Me and Jordan talked about this a bunch of times. We have a huge stop snitching campaign in the hood. You know what I'm saying? So, and basically police officers live by that same rule too. They don't snitch on each other, and that's whatever. That's here or there. But the thing about it is, like, where is our accountability in our oppression? I guess to some degree, where's our accountability in this, and where's the white person's accountability in the entertainment realm, in education, in all of that?
All right, it's a pretty broad question, but I think I got an idea. I say, I heard, I don't know if this was like a real conversation or if it's just like that Jim Crow shit where somebody created like a nice parable to relay a real nice topic, but here's what I learned. They said that you want to know the problem with you, black man? And they said, what, Asian man? And he said, the problem with you is you go and try to use politics to get the power, but we go and get the power to influence our politics. So I feel like for us, we need to really focus on not just the education, because we're real good at going and getting degrees. Like, black women are more educated than any other sector in the whole fucking country. We need to quit, one, seeking white approval. Two, we also need to build ourselves up. So we need to practice group economics, and we need to hire each other and quit trying to just get these star-studded resumes to get these beautiful positions in these white men's companies, because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, like, we can make all the rules and do all the policies. When it comes down to opportunity, everyone's going to go to their immediate network first. It's just a natural reaction. If I get put on a way to make $1 million, I'm going to tell Keith, Renata, and Mark before I tell anybody else. And they all happen to be black because I'm in a black family. That's just how power works. So right. I think that's definitely what black people could do, is like stop trying to trick off and buy these nice cars and nice bags and shit to impress these people who fucking hate your guts, and start spending your money on assets. Now, as far as white people, I mean, you can say like hire black people, X, Y, Z, but at this point, we've been trying to get white people to help us out for so long. I really feel like our way is the only way, and if they try to do some Topher shit again, bomb us, then we need to go to Africa, or we just gotta be ready to die for this shit. It's the only way shit goes.
Yeah, I mean, that's the okay. Well, my question was more so like around what I was looking. I guess I really didn't do a good job of breaking the question down. So like,
damn it, Mark.
What I mean is, right? What I mean is like, okay, our music plays a role in this, right? In the NFL, like I saw the NFL was talking about, some players in the NFL were like, we're going to protest now, some NFL players. And I'm like, no, you should have protested. I'm thinking in my mind, you should have protested before Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
You left Cap out to dry.
All y'all left Cap out. So that's what I'm saying. Like, where are we held accountable? Like, did anybody in this group even stop watching football the whole time Colin Kaepernick was going on? Like, right now, the protests and the marching and all of that, it seems very temporary, and it seems trendy, and it just seems like a Facebook op. You know, it's a really dope Facebook picture to take a photo behind a riot scene or behind a protest with the mask on, and it makes you look real woke. But when it really comes down to it, like, are we making these moves? Are we down to do what we need to do? And what does that look like on a more, personal level?
I just told you what it looked like. I know. All
right, Keith, you want to go ahead and run it? It looked like Keith's busy. Chuck, you want to run it?
No, I'm gonna just listen on this one.
Keith?
Put that in my head.
Renata?
Okay. Here we go. And obviously, nobody prepared for this question, so I don't have to pretend to give some kind of educated answer.
Where's your publicist?
Right. Like, look, I continue to do me, like, just living my life. As simple as that sounds, that's really what I got.
Okay, so kind of adding on to what Jordan said, absolutely, we have to have our own lane, right? We have to stop looking for approval or acceptance or even trying to live to standards of people who we don't really agree with their morals to begin with. So we have to stop looking at them to apply.
You make a salad with yours like I'm doing.
Yeah, somebody taking a bath?
He's cleaning lettuce or something.
Oh, sorry. Like, hey, somebody's in the tub.
Y'all hear me?
Yeah. But I think bigger than that is reparations. And I'm not even saying it in just a monetary form. I'm saying reparations in the form of all those sectors that you just named. Go ahead and give us equitable access to education, and not this stuff that's based on district lines, not this thing that's on what your neighborhood or your community contributes to tax dollars. You know what I'm saying? When you think about like the college entrance scandal that just happened, Felicity Huffman and all that kind of shit, and you compare that to a mother who was thrown in jail for 3 years? Was she sentenced to 3 years? The mother who
she got 5.
Lied about her address to get her child in a better school.
Yeah, I thought she got 5.
5 years. Okay.
Yeah.
So reparations in the form of equitable education, equitable access to these jobs that are paying better, that are affording us opportunities to create better environments for our families. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't even start to address the systemic part of it. We can't talk about finance, education, healthcare, access to food until we address everything being restored to us. Everybody else has gotten reparations but us. Sure not.
Right.
True.
Yeah, very much.
We can't address the root of any of this stuff until we are given the opportunity to have access to any of these things in an equitable manner.
Agreed. Agreed.
Facts. So you think Black Lives Matter needs to use like all that money we raised and like really put it in a solid case for reparations and see it through?
A solid case for reparations, but also, like, think about Black Wall Street, right? When we built up things like this for ourselves, there's someone that comes along and takes that away from us. So how do we build that kind of stuff up and then keep it? How are we protected? Remember the senator in Michigan that was escorted to work by armed Black men? after
I saw that.
crazy ass rioters, protesters, I call them terrorists, on the Capitol demanding that the state reopen.
Right, one of their frosted tips.
What's the difference in perception except for it's black men with guns versus white men with guns, right?
Absolutely.
So if we had our own, if we were to rebuild something like that, like Atlanta was before the 1906 riot, before Wall Street, before Rosewood, all of that, when we had things like that going for, they bombed us, burned everything down to the ground. I think the difference was black men weren't armed to protect us. You know what I mean? So not just black men, the black community period was not armed, wasn't even legally able to be armed to protect us and to protect our interests. Minding our black ass business with our own attorneys and our own doctors, our own dentists, grocers, all of that. What is it going to take for us to get to something like that, sustain it? You know?
Yeah, man. I agree. I definitely agree. It's only two things that's respected in this country, bro. It's money and getting punched in your fucking mouth. That's it. So if we ain't finna beat their ass, we need to get it back. That's it. Then flip it and share it with our niggas, bro. And repeat. That's the key to everything. We can do all these marches. We can talk. We can ask them. We can show all these videos. If we actually had like a black delegation putting money in these pockets where we could say, look, Judge, if you keep sending these black boys to jail, you're not finna get voted in next time. And you too, if you want to run, get reelected, you finna lose $500 million in campaign dollars if you don't do what the fuck we told you to do. That's how these gay rights got passed. Like, we think it's the rights and all that.
But they started
these gay niggas put up their money.
And they started with local protesters, though. They started with local
They did protest. Don't. I'm not trying to overshadow that. I should have chose my words better. But at the end of the day, it comes down to money and violence, bro. That's the only ways to get shit done in this country. Why you think we got fucking half our budget going to the military? As much as we like saying the land of the free, they also say the home of the brave, nigga, because we gonna ride the fuck out if you get to tripping.
Well, we'll do it if we do it if it benefits us financially too. We steal stuff. I mean, the military is not this. And I know me and Keith have had this discussion, so it's nothing personally against the military. However, all the causes that we go with the military are not noble. A lot of it is let's go get some oil, let's go get some gold. I mean, you look at all the natural resources. True.
Yeah, Kevin.
I probably
you know who's telling them to do it. You know who's telling them to do it? The motherfuckers putting the money in the politicians' pockets because they know they trying to stay elected, bro. That's why cigarettes are still here. Why are cigarettes still here? Think about that shit. Why is alcohol here? Why was weed illegal? Because it was lobbyists going for all these things at all times.
Right. Yeah.
That's how this country works, man. So
no, I'm
guns, no more butter.
Yeah. I'm just like the military ideal. Like, I don't know. Like, I kind of have my issues, like I say, because it's never what they tell us it is. You know what I mean? It's never the issue that they're like, oh, well, we're over in Iraq because we care about Iraqi people. It's like, yeah, I don't really buy that. We're over in Vietnam because we care about the Vietnam conflict. It's not true. I know that. I mean, like, the more that we get into it, it's like it's lining pockets. It's economics. It's like you said. Yeah, we're over there for to basically put our. I think I watched I don't know if you watched the series on HBO. It's called Boardwalk Empire.
I need to watch that because I know Omar.
Shit right there.
I'm gonna watch that.
So basically, Nucky didn't want to be more than the treasurer of Atlantic City. But what he did was he took and pushed everybody up, and he put these people in power that he could basically manipulate whenever he needed a favor. I think that's what America does and that's what America does with our military stuff. It's like, okay, well, we can't control Saddam, so we need to get him out of there and put some guy that we could basically just pull his strings whenever we want to do what we need to do.
That's what they've been doing in Africa for years.
Oh God, don't get me started on that, man. But the richest continent in the world, and
the African leaders.
I'm a big believer in I just think going to that point, but I think you're right with the with the action. I've got a homie who's it's him and his brother, and he's a very you know, he's very political, and he's very, and everything that he says, he's calculated, and he tries to, you know, do a diplomatic way. And his brother just punches people in the mouth. And it's like, I told him, I said, the Marcus way and the Ruben way are both necessary. Because like I say, I mean, without getting too deep into it, was like, okay, well, what do you say to these people who are just like, you know, who say, what about black on black crime? Well, it's like, well, after a certain point, you hit them in the mouth. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying me, because I'm not a fighter, but I'm saying that's what happens. It's like after a certain point, that's where I'm like, I don't have to explain that shit to them, because they don't want to. They don't want to know. They don't really need. You know, it's like they don't really like. It's a waste of good energy for me to try to bring the stuff that I've researched myself and bring this to you, because you're too lazy, like Renata said, to go look it up yourself, all the Google shit that's out there. So you want me or black people to explain it to you. And it's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Die in your ignorance. I don't fucking care. You know?
And a lot of black people say that shit too.
Yeah, I deleted a girl today. Yeah.
Black on black crime. See, black people
got position to be in, man.
Black people gotta stick. They gotta understand that you gotta stick together. Black people always look at stuff from like right and wrong perspective, and these white people don't. When this dude killed Trayvon Martin or any of these other cats, they be raising hundreds of $1,000s for them. They know it's wrong, but they still do it because they stick by him because he's on their side. They don't look at it from a right and wrong perspective.
Yeah, George Zimmerman is still walking the streets.
Yeah, they don't look. They don't look at it from right and wrong, man. They look at it like he did that. Maybe it is wrong, but we still sticking by him. You know what I'm saying? The one dude, you see the dude who pushed the old man over the cops, who they pushed the old guy over, busted his head.
Fucking
he did.
That pissed me off.
Dude got suspended. He was walking out. All his coworkers out there clapping for him. They know it's wrong, but they on his side. You know, so they don't look at it from right.
All the cops quit. They quit that special unit that they were in. 75 cops quit.
For real?
Like, if we can't brutalize people without them checking us, we quit. Quit that.
Yeah. It was actually 57, Kev. But
I thought it was 75.
Lexi,
hush. Wrong, though.
Yeah, I think Kev a little dyslexic. It's all good though. I still love him.
Stop it.
Stop it. Little ancillary detail to that story. They quit because the union refused to back them, and I guess it's like the union's supposed to back the cop regardless of the situation, and the union wasn't touching that issue. So that's what prompted the quit for whatever.
Exactly. They said you pushed the white man, you fucked up now.
They took their ball and went home. But they can't brutalize people without being checked.
One thing I wanted to say real quick too is, I've been doing a lot of self inventory, if you will. You know, during this time and self reflection, and you know, I do that all the time. Jordan know, you know what I'm saying. Renata know, Keith know. Actually, all y'all know. Everybody, all y'all pretty close to me. Like, you know what I'm saying. I'm not afraid to challenge my views or my thought process at all. I'm usually right though, because I don't know why.
You said wrong. You said wrong the wrong way.
Hold on, Mark. I'm sorry, but remember when Keith was editing that first podcast?
You begged his ass.
Are you sure you want to say that? That's how you represent yourself?
No, okay.
Boy,
but I said all that. I said all that to say this, man, was that I think, okay, like we were just having this conversation, we were just talking about the police. We tend to do the same thing racist people do. Correct me if y'all think if this sounds like I'm cooning, for lack of a better term, but I love that term though, by the way. But correct me if y'all think that, if y'all think I'm tap dancing or whatever. But this is what I'm saying is like, we lump all the bad police officers in one group, and we say the police, when whatever percentage you may believe is not all of them. Just like they do us, though. They do the same thing with the black people. And then I seen our quote unquote social media friends doing the same thing with the protesters. Why don't you guys stop looting? I'm like, wait a minute, it's people protesting and then there's looters. Those, you know, they aren't the same thing. You know, and it's like everybody, all of us are guilty to that to a certain degree. Like we lump the whatever percentage, and it's usually a small percentage. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what percentage of cops are good. You know, I got family members. I won't say their names because they specifically told me not to say their names. But I have family members who are police officers, and one of them told me he's never had to draw his gun at all. You know what I'm saying? So that's great policing. You know what I'm saying? To me, that's great policing. London police officers don't even have guns. They don't even carry guns on them. They probably have them, but they don't carry them. You know what I'm saying?
They're peace officers.
Yeah, exactly. They're peace officers, sort of what I was talking. We went into the first thing, but it's just like I think we should all check our language sometimes, just in that aspect. Like we tend to lump everybody in one group. Everyone does. Everybody's guilty of that.
Can I say something about that, Mark? Can I say something about that? This is my thing. So like I'm obviously the only white guy in this group. So when I heard people say white,
Keith is white.
I didn't apply it to myself. True. Right, but I didn't apply that to myself because I know that it's not being spoken about me. Okay, so I've really kind of learned to get out of that. Like I say, not all white people. I don't have to say that because number one, I don't represent them. They can represent themselves. So I don't think. And the other thing, police aren't. Police is a job. Okay, so you're talking about the difference between people saying all black people, which is an entire race of people doing different things, and people that have subscribed to a like an ideal, that thin blue line. And I've seen even the good cops, I've seen them protect that thin blue line to a fault. Even some of my good friends that are police officers, I argued with the guy today. I argued with the guy yesterday because when that old man got pushed over, his response was, well, he ran towards riot police. What do you think that they were going to do? I was like, he's a fucking 75-year-old man. What the fuck, man? You know, so you're scared of him. You're scared of a 75-year-old guy that could barely walk towards you. So it's like, okay, so that just lets me know that there's deeper seated things that need to be addressed. If you're saying, and you're a good cop, quote unquote, and you're saying that what they did to that man was okay, I haven't met a cop. I haven't run into any cops that have said George Floyd. Like most of the people actually, like I'm actually surprised at the amount of people that are like, because a lot of those same people justified Trayvon Martin's death, Tamir Rice's death, Eric Garner's death.
I haven't run into a lot of people. I haven't run into anyone who says George Floyd's death was, you know, I haven't run into anybody who said that he did something wrong or anything like that. So.
Yeah. They try to say like the entire rap sheet gets pulled off. $10 bill. They try to bring that shit up. Like, what the fuck? One got to do the other.
Candace Owens.
Oh. Renata, you want to speak on Candace Owens?
Before you
that musty motherfucker. No, I ain't gonna.
Hold on, wait, time's out. Hold on, wait. We're gonna let Renata talk, but I want her to speak on Candace Owens too, because she's the only black girl in the group, and it's gonna be like a cat fight.
I don't know that hoe. So
I've heard about her before, but I don't really know.
What I will say is
cat
this.
Fight.
She's like the new Omarosa.
When we talk about police, and we say that general term, the police, and we say, fuck the police, we're talking about an institution. We're not talking about individual cops. It's an asinine statement to make when you know that there's good individuals and bad individuals within an organization. This is an institution that has been taught to brutalize. They're not trained to protect us. They're not trained for us to trust them or for us to look at them as any kind of community resource. You know what I'm saying? Their main job is to strike, like, and that's as an institution. That's across the board. You can have an entire police department in a whatever city that is known for, you know, being great, outstanding community members, and then you got the LAPD and the NYPD, and that's going to override everything because it's an institution. When we say the police, we're making a generalization, but it's based off of, you know,
historical facts, historical data.
Exactly.
Right.
Empirical facts, not even just historical.
Empirical.
This shit is measured and accurate. And
exactly.
Them
That's why I do a lot
of. It's not even just black people, bro. Like, this is the shit they put out.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the problem where I've seen a lot of white people say, "Well, I've been brutalized by police." The same thing when 9/11 happened. Well, I've been profiled in the airport. I've been stopped. It's like, well, yeah. So at the end of the day, they're gonna do certain things that are gonna make you think, okay, well, it's not everybody, and it's like it's such a small scale of things of people that have been brutalized, and it's not even the same. It's not. I've never been brutalized by a police officer because I'm white. I've never been stopped by a police officer because I'm white. Now, I've been stopped by police officers when I had my son in the car, and I know exactly why they stopped me. But that's a totally different ballgame. You know what I mean? It's not the same thing. So when they try to like quote, because they're never doing that to relate. It's never like, yeah, I totally get it. I've been stopped too, and I understand what you're going through. It's like, well, white people get stopped by the police too. They're trying to, So again, that becomes that combative person that I don't give a fuck whether they understand it or not, because they're not trying to understand. They're trying to talk over. They're trying to
win. That's
the
thing. They literally trying to win.
Yeah, because even like white privilege, okay, like acknowledging white privilege, white people just seem to think that acknowledging white privilege means that we're going to lose everything. I try to talk to people about that all the time. Don't you dare talk to me about white privilege. I grew up in a mobile home park and blah 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 blah. It's like, dude, that's not what privilege is. You try to explain it to them. It's like, we're not going to lose anything, okay? If we admit that we have privilege, that doesn't mean that you have to go and quit your job. That doesn't mean that you have to give your house away. Doesn't mean you have to go turn all your money in. Doesn't mean any of that shit. It just means you admit that you've had a statistical advantage because of the skin color that you were born with. End of story.
Well, nobody wants to admit that. Nobody wants to admit that they have a advantage. You know what I'm saying?
Especially in a country that values hard work and pulling yourself up by the bootstraps, everybody wants to say that's how they got it.
Claims to value.
Nobody want to hear that the shit been easy for them, and they feel like they've been working their fucking dick off.
Yeah, but you're pulling yourself up by the bootstraps. I have friends right now because their grandpa started a boating company. I have two friends right now that their grandpa started a boating company. Their dad took over, and then they got jobs. They would have had jobs whether they were complete fuck ups in school or not. One dude just took home $300 million and another like 150 because their grandpa started something. So what bootstraps did they have to pull themselves up by? Maybe the bootstraps to slide themselves out of their mother? That's the only bootstraps they had to do. They had to slide out. Exactly, I slid out, I'm fucking rich. No matter what I did, no matter if I fucked my whole life up, I could have killed people. And as soon as I get to a certain level, I'm going to have that same.
I don't want to be misunderstood because what I'm saying is a country that values that. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the American
like, more of an ideal than an actuality, though.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I meant. Yeah, it's an ideal.
No,
it's not fully realized.
We're saying the same thing.
Yeah, it's lucky kind of here because you do have some like, I mean, shit. When we say that like Jay-Z's children have immense black privilege, so to speak, like Blue Ivy ain't never gonna have to fill out no job application and get denied because she got nappy hair, quote unquote. Like,
but Blue Ivy could get pulled over by the police and come up missing. But she'd get pulled over by the police and come up missing. You know?
Yeah, like she's still gonna have.
Privilege is not just about that.
Police officer economical privilege. Blue Ivy ain't gonna be driving herself.
Yeah, like there are certain privileges. Like, I mean, shit. Black people, we do have certain privileges. Like, I don't want us to look at it like we just some fucking desolate, hopeless motherfuckers, because we do have a lot of power, and that's why they treat us like this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know about privilege.
We got our power, but we don't be using it, man. Like, just imagine if, like, LeBron and these dudes, they just went to, like, black colleges, and not, like, Ohio State and all that shit. What that would do for us.
The black colleges, it's kind of like a revolving door, bro, because on one hand, I do think that would be dope, but for one, these black colleges don't throw out that same money, so it's kind of hard to tell somebody from the hood, like, yeah, you
can change that, though. You can change that narrative.
Generate that money, though.
You can change it. Whoever shows up there, they'll generate the money.
Two, forget generating money. If we fucking change the structure, why the fuck do we pay so much for college here? And in Germany, they literally go for free.
Oh, that's another story. That's another story in itself.
Oh, hey, that's a whole other story. But I wanted to end the conversation. Go ahead, Chuck. I'll let you get yours off.
Back to the cops doing all the bad cops thing. Like, some of the cops, man, you know what's going on. If you ain't stopping it or speaking on it, then you all bad. You know what I'm saying? If you just walking by, like, for me personally, man, if I saw if some dude raping a chick and a dude was watching, he didn't say nothing. For me personally, he's worse than the rapist dude.
And that's actually a crime.
Personally.
That's actually a crime.
Yeah.
You can actually go to jail.
It's all these cops that are so good, man, but they know exactly what's going on. They might not necessarily be like that, but they know what these other cops are doing, you know what I'm saying? They ain't speaking on or stopping. Like those other cops who saw a dude with his foot on his dick. Maybe they ain't like that, but they just let that man do him like that. So they on the same level with him, man. You know what I'm saying?
It's kind of sad too, bro, because you know what happens to cops that do speak out? Like,
oh yeah,
they get their whole shit derailed. Like, and keep saying your whole career over, like it's over with, because they not gonna have us to like come and uplift them for doing it. Like, they gonna be out there by themselves going to get the system. So I get it. It's true. Like when you ask a nigga in the hood, like, why don't you tell the police you know who shot him? Because motherfucker, I can't take on the GDs by myself.
Right.
So I get it.
But just as that life you gotta take, man.
Homeboy for being the way he is. Y'all know who
you say you don't knock who?
I don't knock Homeboy for being the way he is. You know who
I'm talking
about. Right. Yeah. This is how, I don't know about y'all, but me personally, like just as a black man, I've never, ever, once to my knowledge, ever called the police for anything in my life. Not for any other reason, but because I never felt like they were there to help me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll never forget. And this is the first time, like, I even thought about it in that aspect, was because I was at work one night and I was with my buddy who was white, and I never forget, we worked third shift at this time, and the police, like 3 police officers walked into the warehouse, and immediately I started looking like, where the fuck can I run to get up out of here to? Maybe it's because of my past, or maybe not. But I never forget, like, my coworker, who was a white man, he literally ran towards the police and said, "How may I assist you, officer?" And I clown him for that to this day, because I'm like, man, and me, I'm sitting there thinking, like, I started instantly looking for, like, exits for me to, you know what I'm saying, get little on them. But it's just like, it's a different, and they actually are there to help us. Like, that's what they should be there to do, like, to assist us. And we should be assisting them. It should be like a community. They work for us, and we sort of help them out. Like, do you realize there's a law that says if we see a police officer policing wrong, there's a citizen's arrest that we can actually make on the officer?
Boy,
like,
good luck with that, buddy. I ain't doing that shit.
Exactly. Can you imagine? Me?
I'm not even touching that one.
Can you imagine me with my black ass and this big old beard trying to stop an officer from policing wrong, even though that is my, like, just like jury duty? That's your obligation as a citizen of America.
Your civic duty here.
Policing, my civic duty. So is policing the police. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, we actually, like, that's part of our job. We don't do it anymore. But I mean, I just wanted to say that, like, I've never called the police, because I never felt like they were there to help me. I never felt like I've been a victim before. I've had things broken into. I've had my house broken into, my car broken into. I've been, you know what I'm saying, assaulted. You know, and I've never ever once called the police, just because I'm like, you know, what can they do that I couldn't do for myself? Like, they don't, you know. So I was just like, you know, when my shit got broken
start going through your shit.
Right, exactly. So that's just what I wanted to end it on. Anybody else got any final thoughts on the whole thing?
Hey, don't ever do that, Mark. Don't ever do your civic duty in that respect. Please. I want to keep you around. I love you. Please don't ever try that. Nobody else try that, please.
What do you guys think about the notion that we need, like, more cops from our community? Like, do you think that's a viable action? Because the way you just said, you never felt comfortable calling the cops. Like, if you knew cops that were like you, looked like you, came from the same place as you, would you feel more comfortable calling them your aide?
I would. That's crazy that you say that. I totally would. I've known black people when I'm not going to say no names again, but it was just a situation recently where somebody got into a situation where he was in the wrong, and he could have been hauled off to jail, even though it was something minor and it was something that we all go through. But two black police officers, nope, it was a domestic situation. And he actually could have been taken to jail for this domestic situation. But it was minor. It was minor. But two black officers showed up at this guy's door, and they was just like, we understand, you know what I'm saying? But this is what, you know what I'm saying, y'all need to figure this out. Like, y'all can't be calling us here, blah, blah. You know, they just hollered at them like real people instead of clubbing somebody over the head, running them.
And a lot of, you know what, a lot of white police officers used to do that for white people back in the day. Like, if you got caught drunk driving, you didn't go to jail. Like, hey, you know what, you leave your car here, you can get in the back of my cruiser, I'll take you home and sleep it off, and then you can come back and get your car in the morning. It never was all about arrest, crime, because it became, like I say, that's what it became about. So I think in a sense, I think you're right. But somebody, because I've heard a lot of people say that if you don't like the way the police are policing, join and change from the inside. Well, it's like, apply that to something different and see how stupid it sounds. So apply that to Al-Qaeda. So I don't like Al-Qaeda, so I don't join Al-Qaeda and change from the inside. No, you can't change the terrorist organization from the inside. Everything has to change, because how many times have you seen a black cop basically almost overcompensating for the fact, well, I don't want them to think that I'm you know, giving black people a pass, so I'm gonna go over the top. I mean, we 20. I was telling y'all about that situation with 20 and I out of Michigan City. Dude, it was a black cop was the main guy.
He was out there like he wanted us to fight him. Like he was antagonizing us. He called us a bunch of crybabies and whiners. And he knew, because you know how 20 is, man. 20's like, you know, 20's quick to snap. Yeah. And like I was with him. Like normally I'm like, no, 20, come on, let's go. But the way these people were treating us, I was with the shits that night. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's I like how people are talking about defunding the police. And like not in the sense of like 100% no police funds, but like the same way they've been defunding education for years, you know, it's like not make it so like, because what America is like there's corporations and there's police, and that's soaking up like more and more of every sector. Like all these rich people have shit, they need more police to protect this shit. So I think defunding the police.
So schools are usually like performance based, right? So if you live in a school district, you're performing, they start cutting your funding instead of doing the opposite, increasing your funding so that you can perform better. So that's the kind of defunding they need to do within the police department.
Yeah.
You know, whatever metrics they need to use to, you know, kind of determine, you know, what the scale is going to be. If it's the number of open cases or cases found against them by private citizens for, you know, police brutality or necessary stops, things like that, police targeting and harassment, things like that. But we can't continue to reward every time you turn around. They're still hiring. They're giving raises, bonuses, all of that. So, you know, we're paying for it. And so it's the same thing with the schools, you know. If they're underperforming, they're cutting their funding, they're closing schools, you know. So why are they not doing the same thing for them?
The system, man, it ain't gonna never change, man. No amount of money, if Michael Jordan put $100 million to it, the system is just that way, man. You know what I'm saying? The money ain't gonna change nothing, only for a little bit.
So the system need to be,
they ain't gonna never change,
but it need to be
that's how they win. Why would they want to change the system if they winning like
that? That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. We need this because the system runs off of money, bro. Period. You know, like if we literally was
part
the
of it,
one
though.
putting
Money's
the coins
part of it, but you can't just throw money at it and hope it goes away. That's what a lot of rich people do. That's a guilt thing. Because I got to throw money at it because I'm not going to throw my actual support behind it. So here, take this money. Now I feel better about myself and all the dumb shit that I've done to not support.
Yeah,
you know?
I think
it's gotta be a combination.
I think I'm being misconstrued. I don't mean like how Michael Jordan gave $100 million. I'm not even talking about these organizations. I'm talking about literally like coming together as a people, as a party, a political party, and making contributions and having lobbyists and having politicians run. Like, let's say Black Lives Matter turned in, instead of us being Democrats here for it, we all Black Lives Matter. That's our party. And the Black Lives Matter party is sending Mark Hunt representing Illinois to, I don't know, enact the legislation. That's the type of shit I'm talking about. I'm not talking about just like charities and shit, because money rules that shit too.
Yeah, if he put the money to like a politician to put, you know what I'm saying, shit in for us, then I think it would change, because that's what the Spanish did with Obama. He changed shit for them because they got their money together and gave it to him.
You saw them gay rights right up.
I don't know if Michael Jordan gave his money to it. I don't think he directly gave that $100 million to a politician for policies for Black people.
See, I don't think the president is this. I mean, like, I don't think, like, a lot of people kind of have the idea that system, right? The Senate and the House of Representatives and, congressmen, those are the people that are actually making the changes. Now, he has to make the final approval. It's like I've argued with a billion people about, if you don't like Trump, then give him his money back. I'm like, well, I didn't get my money from Trump. I got my money from the people who voted it in. It wasn't his bill, So I think that, like, where we miss out, I think, on a lot is, worrying so much about the president and not worrying about the people who really make the changes,
Right.
I think that, our local people, that's a huge thing. I mean, I live in Mishawaka, and Mishawaka hasn't had a Democratic. They have an unopposed mayoral race here. Like, no Democrat has been a mayor here in years. When I was voted this year, it was like, this is the mayor, and there's like Republican Dave Wood. That's it. No Democratic candidate at all, because Mishawaka is just like that. You know what I mean? You ain't getting, you're not getting anything. Now you go to South Bend and it's totally different. South Bend is like, it's almost like crossing over like a time warp. Like, literally, Mishawaka is like being in 1985. That's where I live. And you go to South Bend, and South Bend's progressive. I mean, the last mayor was Mayor Pete. And granted, Mayor Pete did a lot of fucked up shit. We had a gay mayor with a husband.
Right.
Like,
That's very But all right, y'all, let's go ahead and end it, man. So it was nice talking to everybody. I really appreciate everybody being on this chat. Real talk, man. Like, we I hope y'all don't mind if I upload this to Facebook. Do anybody got any qualms against that? Jay?
No, you upload it.
Keith?
I'm with the shit.
What about you, Nada?
Yeah, that's cool.
All right.
Perfect, man.
Yeah. Perfect. All right, I appreciate y'all, and we'll holla.
Good to see everybody's faces and hear everybody's voices.
Likewise, man.
Yep.
Stay safe out there.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
I appreciate not seeing. I would appreciate not seeing Keith's face next time, but that's that's just my personal preference.
Gotta love brothers, right?
All right, man. Love y'all.
Y'all be safe, man.
Peace, man.